We talk all the time about, setting your standards and setting your expectations, right? So I have no issue with the fact that she's like, you know what? My line was you lying to me. You crossed that line.
It
I'm
wasn't a
out.
lie. It wasn't a lie. It was
Bro,
not
it
a
was a
lie.
lie by omission. Like,
It was not a lie by
if you
omission.
did.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Philosophical from the Let's Rap podcast. Hello, everybody.
This is Jay Echo. What's popping?
Today, we're going to be talking about just a little bit of a change of sorts. We're here to talk about the latest season that just ended on Amazon Prime called Invincible. If some of you guys don't know, that's an
Yeah,
anime.
it's not an anime.
Well,
It's
animation.
it. There we go. Yeah, it's animation, but
It's an animated show based off of a comic book that recently came out about 2010. Some people have been speculating it's a little bit of a playoff Justice League, Superman. It's a little bit more gory and a little bit
yeah,
more story based, a little bit more darker tone.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
just to give a little synopsis of the show, we don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but pretty much um, the main superhero, which is Omni Man,
hmm
real name, oh man, it escapes me right. Nolan. I'm sorry,
Nolan,
Nolan.
yeah, Nolan.
Nolan. Pretty much, the way it starts makes me feel like, oh, we're getting ready to enter this world where it's. I like the way they do it to where they kind of talk about different section of superheroes.
Yeah,
And right off the break, you get
you,
him kind of just killing all the superheroes. And that's kind of where it starts as far as, you know, oh wow. I'm like off the break, okay, he's turning evil, somebody's controlling him, this, that, and the third. So that's kind of the premise of the story of the weekly episode. So each episode came on, it's over now, first season's over. Came on each week. So that was kind of the plot twist of like, oh man, why did Nolan do it? And so it kind of goes in the story of he has his family at home. And, his son Mark, throughout kind of the couple episodes, Omni Man's out saving the world. And his son Mark pretty much is
he,
once
uh,
he doesn't have any
he.
powers.
To start with, he doesn't have any powers,
Yeah, he doesn't have any powers.
but
And, yeah, go ahead.
he develops powers,
Yeah,
and
they do a good job of that actually.
yeah, and like I mean, if like any teen whose dad's a superhero, he wants to be exactly like his dad. He's
Correct.
like, yo,
Correct.
I'm gonna be exactly like him.
Correct.
And sort of they juxtapose this kid who's newly discovering his powers, his abilities, and who wants to be exactly like, who he thinks is the greatest hero in the world versus Nolan, who is a villain technically, but
Yeah.
his son doesn't really know it. And, just his son is doing all this stuff to try and be exactly like his dad. But meanwhile, his dad is out here doing some pretty shady stuff.
Yeah,
So,
kind of doing a little bit of saving the world, but also um, what I call kind of within his own agenda.
yeah, he has his own.
So his son Mark, and then you have the mother. Uh, her name is I forget her name, but
I forget
that's
her
so bad.
name, but she's
I
played
forget
by
her name. She's
Sandra
playing
Oh.
Sandra Oh, which was a great, 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 great person to
Hold on,
play
let
that
me
role.
look it up real quick. Sandra
Yeah.
Oh.
While he's looking that up, and also you have other characters. There's another group that's kind of Cecil. who is kind of the government leader, kind of organizing all of this.
Yep, government agent.
Yeah, the government agent kind of organizing all of this. Government's always got to be in control somehow. Um, um, and then you kind of have this detective, which I really loved his character. I felt he wasn't on there long enough. His name was Demon Detective, I believe his name was, and he was
Yeah,
going around kind of trying to figure out why Nolan did it and things like that. Other man, he didn't really trust him, so Nolan slash Omni Man played his role to kind of get him out of there, sent him back to where he came from, and Nolan trusts Cecil, and Cecil's trusting Nolan, but Nolan's been kind of watching him and following him and things like that. Um,
Debbie, that's her name. No
Debbie,
wonder
yeah,
I forgot the name. She got
Debbie.
the plainest name you could think
Oh
of.
yeah, oh yeah. That's probably the worst thing I hated about the show. Why'd you name her Debbie? uh, so then to introduce a lot of the other characters, you've got Robot, you got Adam Eve, you got Adam Eve's dating this pompous boyfriend. He's a little bit all over the place. Um,
I forget his name. It's Rex something. Rex.
Rex, yeah,
Yeah.
Rex. Robot, his character is pretty interesting. I'm not really feeling his character too much. His
His
reasoning.
his characters did some creepy stuff of his own.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll leave that.
So, then they try to play a little bit of the relationship kind of thing into it where Adam Eve and Rex are dating, but of course Rex cheats. I thought Adam Eve and Mark were kind of going to get together. But I
I'm
don't
glad
know.
they didn't do that actually,
Yeah, I'm
or at
kind of
least they
glad
didn't
to.
do it to start.
Correct. Yeah, I'm kind of glad to. And then, as Mark kind of develops his powers, he starts to date someone named Amber.
Hmm.
Um, and of
Assistant.
course, yeah, sister. And she's actually voiced by Zazie Beats, who I'm a big fan of her work. She's been in a lot of independent, a lot of other movies. I recommend you guys kind of do your research on her. Big fan of her work.
She's in Atlanta also. So
Correct, correct. Uh, so he is kind of one of those things where the way they kind of got to know each other, Mark was getting beat up, but he couldn't really, he didn't really want people to know his true identity, so he kind of kept getting beaten up. And Amber continued to kind of stick up for him. And then, Mark finally got the heart to kind of ask her out and do this and do that. But, every time they would go out on a date, Mark would either cancel the date because he's out saving the world or he was always late, figuring out excuses, this, that, and the third.
mhm.
Um, he kept apologizing. Um, and I'll get back to Amber in a second. They also threw in there his best friend, which his name is his name Aaron? No, his name's not Aaron. The best friend.
Yeah,
He had a
Eric.
role in there. Eric. Uh, he had a role in there, which was a great episode. Each episode kind of introduced a little tidbit of each villain, and we don't want to spoil that too much.
Mhm.
Um, and so as episodes go along, there's kind of this thing of why I'm the man did it. We won't spoil or reveal why he did it. It was to me, I'm a little bit mixed on it. I understand why they did it, but I'm just like, they didn't really give enough information on it.
Let's
Uh,
say this. They give you enough so you want to see season two. Let's just put it like that.
I don't,
I want to
I
see
don't,
season
I
two.
want to see season
You don't
two. I
have to.
mean, no, I do, but that's not the reason why. I'm more interested in them uh giving more of talking about a little bit more of the villains. I like the two twins. They were cool. I
Yeah.
like I like a lot of the other villains. I like the action. I love Titan. Titan's probably one of my favorite. That was
Oh,
one of my
Titan was a
favorite.
G from jump.
That was my favorite episode with Titan and the gangsters and the what's the guy with the main villain with the axe? Oh man, that was
Oh,
amazing.
Battle
Amazing episode.
Beast.
Battle Beast. And they're
Yo,
actually gonna be
he
yeah,
was he was
they're
amazing.
actually gonna be introducing a lot more of him in season two, I'm hearing.
Well,
Uh
I'm down for it, but
oh yeah, yeah. Now if they're gonna introduce Titan and Battle Beast and all that, oh I'm down. But the Omni Man stuff, I'm just like, there's got to be another plot twist. They gotta smooth that a little bit more with me. But overall, the show was great. The show was
Mhm.
very good.
Yeah.
I do think it was. I mean, if you people want to compare it to like a darker tone Super Friends, you can kind of say that maybe. You know,
Mm.
it has the same kind of tone and the look, other than the gore. I tell you what, they didn't hold back on the gore and the violence.
Yeah,
Not at all.
if you're not prepared for a certain level of violence, yes, it's
Yeah,
animated, but if you're not prepared for it, just brace yourself. Like they
correct.
sort of give you a in the first episode, you sort of get a good look at what you can expect in terms of how far they're gonna go. But if you get through the first episode and you're like, yeah,
This
this
ain't
ain't for
it.
me, then I would say hold off.
It's especially that last episode.
Oh yeah, the first episode
Especially,
and the last
oh yeah,
episode, they sort of were just like, and we're here now. Just
yeah,
this
yep,
is what it is.
yep. My one of my big issues though is the relationship between Amber and Mark. It's
That
one of
was
those
actually one of
things.
my favorite parts. So
Well, you know, it's one of those things. I understand why they did it. Maybe they try to give a little bit of, all right, we're gonna establish their relationship a little better in the second season. I get it. But Amber kind of said, I'm not dealing with you anymore, Mark. I'm done. It's that and the third. And they had a nice, and I guess you could call this a spoiler, but when Mark finally told Amber that, you know, I'm invincible. And I love the fact every time they said invincible, it went to his
they would
title
cut
screen.
to the title screen. Yeah.
That was just so amazing. Um, she said, I already knew you were I already knew you were invincible, and I'm not dating you anymore. I'm not dealing with you anymore.
Uh-huh.
That to me is a classic case of just self-centered and selfishness, and just she like there's no excuse for you saving the world and still being late for our date. That to me
Uh,
is part of me is like, now that I'm sitting here talking about it, think about it, like that kind of goes on within the world.
yeah. I mean, so I'm of two minds on it, right? Like, and we'll go into this a little bit, but I feel like she was well within her rights to do it. I mean, cause the reasons were sort of murky. Well, not to me
Yeah.
actually. The reason it seemed to me, anyways, like the reason she wasn't really trying to deal with him was because he lied to her about it. Or
Yeah, but what choice did he have? What
see,
choice did he
yeah,
have? And
that's why I say I'm of two minds about it because like they his initial instinct is actually to tell her, right?
yeah, yeah,
But everybody around him says like, yo, if you are going to do this, then you have to be very serious about this person and you have to be like absolutely sure before you take this step with this person, right?
correct.
And so I can see how, like, I mean, he's a teenager too. So he's like, look, I don't know what I want for breakfast, so I'm not
But
finna do nothing.
they also talked about in the beginning, Cecil kind of mentioned, you know, the ramifications of if your family knows. I mean, if
Hmm.
any your friends or anybody outside knows who you are,
Yeah, that
it can hurt everybody and everything we
exactly.
built for.
Hmm.
And I get that part.
Hmm.
But the one thing that kind of bothers me is still is that within that, you know, again, we don't want to spoil it, but Mark went through a major beatdown, major.
Yeah, he goes through
Uh,
some stuff.
and Amber's like right there. And I'm just like, it takes him getting a major beatdown for you to be like, all right, I get it. I'm sorry. You know, that's that right there is kind of. the naiveness, the selfishness, the
See, and this
self-centeredness.
is this is why I say I'm of two minds about it. Because I mean, we talk all the time about, setting your standards and setting your expectations, right? So I have no issue with the fact that she's like, you know what? My line was you lying to me. You crossed that line.
It
I'm
wasn't a
out.
lie. It wasn't a lie. It was
Bro,
not
it
a
was a
lie.
lie by omission. Like, what
It was not a lie by It
if
was
you
not a
didn't
lie by
tell,
omission.
let me just ask you this. You are married, correct?
Yes.
All right. So let's say something big happened. I don't know. Let's say you became, I don't know, you became, the next big the next big rapper. I don't know, you became the next big producer or something like that.
Yeah.
And so your wife is, expecting you to meet all these obligations, but you haven't told her about the life you lead outside of her. Like you're traveling all over the world, you're doing all these shows, all this sort of stuff. But you're never around to actually meet some of the needs that she has. Like she wants to spend time with you. She wants to go on dates. She wants to, she wants you to be dependable, pretty much. And then one day she's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out. No, one day she's like, yo, I'm done. I'm out. I'm good. And then you're like, but look, I was a superstar this entire time. You didn't know. So we
But
good now?
the difference with that is there's 2 points there. Mark was still spending time with her, or at least trying to spend time with her.
There's a difference between the trying and the doing. And I
He was still
think,
doing. He was still doing. He would still show up. He was still showing up. He was just 5 to 10 minutes late, here and there. I get
uh,
it. I
I
get it.
distinctly recall there being some stuff about like an hour late, 2 hours late, stuff like
Traffic,
that.
traffic. But
Bruh,
hey, but
how
okay.
many
Hey,
how many
hey.
times, let me ask you this, all right? How many times are you gonna, like, if what's it called? If you're even if it's somebody you're dating, somebody holds you up for 2 hours, doesn't
Okay,
say
so
anything.
you don't hear Debbie complaining.
Because Debbie knows the situation.
Okay, so why can't Amber understand the situation?
And
If you
okay, so
but
this is
then
why
but
I'm
then she
saying
wants to understand it. Then
this
she
is
wants to
why I'm saying
understand it.
I'm of two minds on it, okay? Because
Okay.
it's like she set her lines, she set her standards, and those standards were broken, so she left. Bet. I have no issue with
But
that.
she
My
made the
issue
choice.
comes
She
in,
knew and made the choice.
exactly. She made the choice, and I'm not going to fault her for making the choice. I can say
Okay.
the choice she made is incorrect based on,
Well, she at the end of it all, after the quote unquote beatdown, spoiler free beatdown, that's where she came. Was like, oh, I understand.
I
I just
mean, because all she really knows at any certain point in time, like, again, he's not really saying anything. So all she knows at any given point in time is that he's not there. So like
so what's gonna
we
change
even saw
now
an
going
example,
forward?
like when she was like, oh, you have to be at what that episode where they were, what's it called? They were, this isn't too much of a spoiler, but there was an episode where they were supposed to meet to
Oh, the
feed people at a
homeless.
homeless
Yeah, yeah,
shelter,
the homeless shelter.
right?
Yeah.
And during that episode, Mark also gets another beat down. He gets beat up a lot, so just expect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
but but he gets another beat down, and this beat down puts him in the hospital, so he can't show up. So
Yeah.
she's pissed when while she's there. But as
Yeah.
soon as she finds out, like, oh, you literally ended up in the hospital, okay, she was right there for him. But there's only so many times you can deal with that, and the person isn't telling you. So all you know is he doesn't show up. When he does show up, he's beat to I don't know what, and you're expected to sit there and deal with it, and he's not going to say anything. Like, now I understand the reasons for him not saying anything, and I
Mhm.
understand the reasons for her being pissed that he's not saying anything. So like I can't really be mad at it. And this is one of those situations where I would say, like, one, they're both still stupid kids. You know, they're both teenagers. So I can sort of, I don't expect any better, so to speak.
Mhm.
And two, what's it called? I don't expect any better, but also like the the sort of wishy-washy flip-flop back and forth all of it all, like, again, they're teenagers. Like, I don't, but I can also be like, yo, you kind of could have had your man's back, but at the same time, I'm not gonna fault anybody for deciding, you know what, I'm good, I'm out, because you do
Yeah.
what you need to do for you.
Well, um, I will say this.
Mhm.
I don't agree with the decision. I don't like the flip flopping of Amber.
I don't either.
Um, this tells me now, after everything, she's pretty much willing to accept it.
Mhm.
I hope she understands that, spoiler free, that nothing's gonna change unless he just unless she gets powers and starts being superheroes together.
Yeah,
That's,
I think the main thing that's gonna change is that now he can straight up tell her, like, yo, I want to be there, but I got to do this thing. Like, I don't know, Tokyo is blowing up or whatever the
yeah.
case may be, you know.
We'll
So he can
we'll we'll,
actually
we'll
tell her.
also spoiler free. We'll see what happens in season two with
Mhm,
that. Because if I was Mark, I'd be like, yo, you left me when I was at my most vulnerable, and I'm out here
mhm,
doing something, uh, you know, not something, unselfishly and less self-centered. I was given these powers to save the world.
mhm,
And then, you have a father, also spoiler free, who doesn't agree with that.
mhm.
I would have been like, peace. You know what I mean? But we'll
I mean,
see. We'll
yeah,
see.
those are the individual choices that we would make. Like, me personally, I'm not sure what I would do in that situation. I would probably also be pretty pissed. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
this is kind of what it was, and you just, I mean, it would be one of those situations where nobody's really wrong,
Yeah.
but the situation is kind of just screwed up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we said before, season one was great.
Mhm,
Very interested to see what's going to happen with season two. Very good show. Highly recommend. Gets a
mhm.
thumbs up on my end. Let us know what you guys think of season one. Love to get you guys' thoughts on this. Thoughts on Amber, Mark, Omni Man. Um,
I also want to hear people's thoughts on Debbie and Omni Man, like
yeah,
their
yeah.
dynamic, and especially how their dynamic changes at the end of the story.
I
I
think it
want
was
to hear.
very, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point because I felt it was very
Oh
realistic as
yeah,
far as
yeah,
their
yeah,
back and
yeah.
forth. And some things he said, I would have been, oh, that was a dagger. I
Oh,
was like,
that was
yeah,
rough.
yeah.
It was rough, but
So, um, love to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe to our channel and to this video if you're listening to watching this on YouTube. Uh, this is Philosophical, your co-host,
this
and
is Jay Echo.
peace on to the next one.
Take it easy, yo.